So, what book did my BFF pick for me? Well, I am about to find out. Hi, my name is Jeanette, and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. So, today I am going to find out what book my BFF picked for me to read in July. So, when I played my July TBR game, one of the prompts that the wheel landed on was a BFF pick. And as my BFF edits all my videos, I sent her the video of the wheels spins, and then she inserted a book for me, and I don't know what that book is at this moment in time. I have just received the edited video back from her, so now I'm going to watch it and find out what book she chose. I do know that she chose a book, had it put in, and then I chose the book for one of the other prompts. So then she had to change what her choice was. So I know that much. So that was kind of cool. Then she said, okay, I have chosen the book, and now I know what book I'm going to read next. So it is a book she's also interested in. So let's find out. And I've decided that I'm going to do a reading vlog of this book. So this will be the intro to the reading vlog. So let's just find out what book she chose. So here's the book she chose. Ooh, okay. I have told her that she needs a pitch. Huh. I have been intrigued about this one, but neither one of us have ever read this author. And I think, I don't own this book, so, but I'm pretty sure she knows I have Kindle Unlimited, so I wonder. Yes, okay. So the book is High as the Heavens by Kate Breslin. Okay, and it is available on Kindle Unlimited. So it says it's a page-turning intrigue and romance from the up-and-coming historical romance talent. In 1917, Evelyn Marsh is just one of many women who has been widowed by the war. A British nurse trapped in German-occupied Brussels, she spends her days working at a hospital and her nights as a waitress in her aunt and uncle's cafe. Eve also has a carefully guarded secret, keeping her in constant danger. She's a spy working for a Belgian resistance group in league with the British Secret Service. When a British plane crashes in Brussels Park, Eve is the first to reach the downed plane and is shocked to discover she recognizes the badly injured pilot. British RFC Captain Simon Forrester is now a prisoner of war, and Eve knows he could be shot as a spy at any time. She risks her own life to hide him from the Germans, but as the danger mounts and the secrets between them grow, their chance of survival looks grim. And even if they do make it out alive, the truth of what lies between them may be more than any love can overcome. Ooh, that sounds really good. It was released in 2017 by Bethany House. So, yeah. Oh, this is one I've been really intrigued by this author. So, good pick, Christine. Let's see what we think. So, I have finally started High as the Heavens by Kate Breslin. This is the book that my BFF picked for me. And today is July the 13th. So I started it on the 12th. We'll see how it goes. So here is a picture, like a colored cover photo of it, because this is my Kindle, so it is black and white. I am one chapter into it. I just started last night. It is a historical fiction set in Brussels. In 1917 is when it opens. We're following Evelyn Marsh, who is a nurse, I think. I'm pretty sure. Wow, that's really bad that I don't know. And she has ended her shift. She's on her way home. She has some news for her mother about her younger brother and sister. That's all I really know. Then as we're following it, we find out that she is also working I want to say for the resistance, but that doesn't sound right. Wow, I gotta keep reading to find out. So she is passing secret messages or receiving secret messages to pass on to somebody. To somebody. I'm sorry. Wow, I probably shouldn't have started it just before bed last night, right? Because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So I only read one chapter, but that one chapter ended on a cliffhanger because we know that she is alone and it's really just her and her mom, and they're looking for the younger brother and sister, and we know that she lost somebody really, really close to her. Now, it wasn't really said who that person was until the end of the chapter. So, because it's the first chapter, it's not a spoiler, really, not that much of a spoiler. So, basically, she sees a plane crash happen, and she is a nurse, so she runs to go help with that. And as she's helping the two people, one has passed away, and then she takes off the helmet and stuff of the other one, and she's looking at her husband. And she's shocked because she thought he had passed away and he was gone, right? So I'm like, that's where the chapter ended, but I really had to go to sleep, so that's where I stopped. So now it is Thursday evening, and basically I have not read yet today. It is 9 o'clock right now, and I have not read at all. Well, I have listened to my audiobook, but I have not physically read. So this afternoon, after I got home from work, we had to go buy a dryer because our dryer stopped working, and because we had bought our dryer and our washer at the same time 15 and a half years ago, it was kind of like, do we replace one and kind of hope the other one lasts a little bit longer, or do we just replace both to have a set and have it, so they match and get a discounted price because we're buying two at once? So that's what we did. We bought a washer and dryer, and that will be delivered on Monday. And then I've spent the rest of the evening kind of working on planning our September road trip. We had a few ideas of what we're going to do, and do we want to go there? Do we want to go there? And I think we've kind of planned the major stops. But I don't know. It's only the middle of July. It's not till September. So it's very likely it's going to change. But because we stop in hotels along the way, and kind of some of the places we plan on going are kind of touristy, I really want to get kind of the basic route planned out so I can book those hotels. So that is going to be my project this weekend because, yeah, I need to get it done. But before that, I need to do my nails tonight. So you can't really tell, but my nails are actually pretty good. Like, they're a little chipped. Like, you really can't tell, which is amazing because I did this 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago Thursday, like exactly. So I am going to paint them, and it looks like a white. It's limocene is what it's called. It really does look like a white. And I didn't like it when it first went on, but wow, I've really grown to love it. And the fact that it lasted so long, yeah. But it is summer, so I can't go to my normal colors, kind of the ones I always gravitate towards, because I want something fun and bright. It's summer. So I decided to go with, talk about bright. This is Mod Squad by Essie. I only wear Essie nail polish. It's what works and lasts the best for me. And this one was picked out for me by my niece when she was, I don't know, she was probably 5 or 6 at the time. So I've had it for quite a few years and haven't, because she'll be turning 10 this year. And it's actually still really good. So this is what I'm going to wear. So I'm going to do that, and while I do that, I'm going to watch TV for a while. I am binge watching CSI New York, and I'm currently on season 5, so I'm making my way through it. So I'm gonna watch that, and then once my nails are done, then I can go into the book and see what happens now that Evelyn found her husband, and see. I will check in once I start reading a little bit more. Okay, quick update, and then I'm heading to bed. So I did my nails. Okay. I'm at 20% in now, and a couple cool things have happened. So there are flashbacks, a few different flashbacks, a few different years that kind of give us more about who Evelyn and Simon are. Just kind of more information. Simon is her husband, who she thought had passed away. But because of the situation in Belgium with the Germans at this time, they can't. Simon is going under a disguise right now, and Evelyn is trying to help him, but they can't be together because of that. And Simon is injured because of the plane crash, so he's in the hospital right now that Evelyn works at. Okay, so with the flashbacks, getting to know kind of their relationship and kind of what led them to where they are now is really interesting. But one thing that's really cool is Simon is from Scotland, and I lost her name for a second. Evelyn is kind of born and raised in London, England, but her mom is Belgian, and that's why they're in Belgium right now. So anyways, so they met in London originally when Simon was in London for school. Eve's father was one of his professors. So that's how they originally met. But then he went back to Scotland and kind of things happened, and they did get together, and then they got married in Gretna Green in Scotland. And the cool thing about that is, I'm going to find the part that I highlighted. So they got married at a church in Gretna Green. But I was like, oh, that's cool. I've been there. But then it goes on to say, after the wedding ceremony, they all returned to Gretna Green, and her new husband gave her a quick tour of the famous smithy, site of the elopement-styled weddings by Scotland's blacksmith priests for nearly 200 years. That's like exactly where I was when we went to Gretna Green. We were at the site of the blacksmith priests. Like, that is just so cool. If I can find a picture, which I'm sure I can find some pictures of this, I'll send them to be inserted here to show you. So we were there in 2018. We went on a bus tour of England, Scotland, and Ireland for our 15th wedding anniversary. And so Gretna Green, Scotland was one of the stops at this blacksmith shop. Like, I'm like, okay, that's really cool. So yeah. Okay, so they've just had the wedding where, like, they've just gotten married is where I am now, which is a flashback scene. And then we go back to present day Brussels, 1917. But it is now time for me to head to bed. So I am on starting chapter 8 on 20% in. So, I mean, a little bit of progress considering I'd only read one chapter yesterday. So, I will check in tomorrow and let you know how it's going. Okay, update time. It is Saturday morning. I have the day off and my husband is at work. So, I have the house to myself for a little while. And that doesn't happen very often. I have the house to myself in the wee hours of the morning before I have to get up and go to work. But in those hours, I'm sleeping. And other than that, he gets home before I get home. So it doesn't happen very often that I get the house to myself. So so. And I didn't have to be anywhere this morning, so I somewhat got ready, but I just pulled my hair back into a tiny little ponytail. My hair's not very long, right? So this is how I'm gonna be today. So, as I said, it is Saturday. I did not update yesterday. I'm not very good at these reading vlogs. But really, I didn't update because I didn't read a ton between Thursday when I last updated and then Friday before I went to bed. So basically, after work Friday, we did grocery shopping, made supper, that kind of just the normal stuff. And then my husband went to bed for work this morning, and I chatted on the phone with my BFF. So I did not get a lot of reading done. I did go to bed, get some reading done before I went to bed. And I have now made it to chapter 12, which is 33% into the book. And basically we have continued following Evelyn and kind of how she is trying to help her husband, Simon. I lost his name. And he is currently in the hospital, but because he's landed in Brussels, why? I don't know what country this story is taking place in. You always have to think about it. Wow. So anyways, he's landed there, and the Germans are kind of after him, and it's they want to take him in for questioning and stuff, but Evelyn has told him to fake amnesia, so he can't remember why he was flying over the country to begin with, and that is try to protect him. Now, people don't know that Evelyn and Simon are married, and they're trying to keep their connections separate, but Simon doesn't know if he can trust Evelyn now. It's been 3 years, and the reason she's working there and she has an Iron Cross on, is she working for the Germans? Is she he doesn't know. And because they're in a public place, somebody's always around, they can't really talk. So we know that Evelyn is trying to help him, but he doesn't know that. So right now they're kind of at a critical point that Evelyn is trying to save him from being killed by these Germans, because they will capture him as a prisoner of war, or they will just take him to the firing squad and kill him. And she's trying to protect him from that. So they've come up with a plan, or she has come up with a plan with help from a couple friends of how. But it is a risky plan. So now I'm at the point, what is going to happen? So that's where I am right now. Not a whole lot. As I said, I'm only on chapter 12, which is only, come on Kindle, only 128 pages into the book. But I'm really interested. But what I'm liking the flashback scenes. So we know that they were married in Scotland, they were living in London, but he went off to war a week after they were married, 2 weeks, something very, very, very early into their marriage. And he asked her to stay in England for safety. But her mom and family were in Brussels, Louvain, I think it's called. And so they were there. But then she receives news that Simon died within days of going off to war, and she is devastated and wants to be with family. So she goes and be with family. So then we get flashback of what happened, because there's been comments about everything that happened in Louvain, but we didn't know what happened. So now we've had a flashback scene of kind of what she experienced there. And so that's the last thing I read is, now I know what happened in Louvain and why she is where she is now. So that's it for now. I'm going to make some lunch to eat. I'm going to work on planning our trip a little bit, and then I will get back to reading. And I will check in later today, and probably by the time I check in, Andrew will be home from work. Okay, so I am reading while I'm waiting for my lunch to cook. And just this one chapter alone. The Eve arrives at the hospital with, like, today's the day of the plan. She arrives at the hospital and gets some news and is like, great, can't go forward with that plan. Like, right? And then as the day progresses a little bit, something else happens and maybe we can go forward with that plan. So it was a total, like, up and down day. And so now the chapter ended with the plan into effect and what's going to happen next. Okay, update time. I have made it to page 243, chapter 27, so that is 62% in. I did not come back and update yesterday, but I did get the basics of our route planned for our road trip. So now I just have to find places to stay along the way. And then my husband was home and I read and then we went to bed. So yeah, I did not update yesterday after. But today is now Sunday. We went to church this morning and I put lunch on. So my husband's just watching while the noodles cook. I'm having chicken Alfredo sauce with pasta, and Andrew is having red sauce with pasta. He doesn't like Alfredo. So, okay. So, as I said, I am 60% into the book now, and basically they went with the plan is underway. It is in effect, but they've experienced challenges. They're still not, Simon is not out of the country of Brussels. He is in hiding right now and can be caught at kind of any moment. And Eve is kind of watching everything around her and kind of being very, very careful. Then we have it flipped to a scene from Eve's siblings. So at the very beginning of the book, we knew that Eve's siblings had gone missing and she was looking for them and she had an idea of where they were. And then we found out what happened that led to them going missing. And then we get a scene from their perspective, from one of the siblings' perspective, and we find out where they are and kind of how life is being in the 3 years since they've gone missing. So that's really cool. At this point in time, Eve doesn't know, like, they haven't connected with each other. They don't know that Eve and the mother are alive, and Eve knows kind of where they are, possibly, but not for sure. So I'm really enjoying, like, the various perspectives that this book is giving, and I really like kind of the flashbacks in time to find out what has led to events where they are now. So right now, there's not much update in the present day other than there are Eve's kind of watching out and trying to get Simon out of the country and trying to figure out, can they make it safely out of the country? Simon wants Eve to come with him. Eve can't leave her mother behind, and her mother cannot travel the same way that maybe Simon and Eve would be able to. So there are a lot of challenges right now, and the Germans are moving in more and more into Brussels. And so now they have a German border at Eve's place. So she has to be very, very careful. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far, and hopefully I will get a good progress made. I'm hoping to get to, let's see, I'm at 224 right now. I hope by the end of the day I can get to at least 300, like page 300. We'll see how that goes, because as I said, I still have to work on planning the trip. And while my husband's home today, that is what we're going to work on this afternoon. So yeah, okay, it should be time for lunch now. I will check in later. Okay, I have another update. You can't see that at all. I have made it to chapter 34, 80%, page 319. But before we get into the book update, let's do a Sunday afternoon update from my last one. So I have finished planning our trip. I have all our hotels picked. Don't have them booked yet, but they're picked of where we're going to stop. And so, like, me and my husband sat down, went over everything. So, yeah, basically, we're doing almost a 2-week road trip and staying in 10 hotels? 9 hotels? 9 different places? That's sad that I don't know the number. I think it's 9 because we're staying in 1 3 nights, 1 2 nights, and then every other, like all the rest, are only 1-night stays as we make our way there and make our way back. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it though, and I feel much better now that it's planned out, kind of the basics of it. And now I just have got to do the finalization of getting everything booked, which, I mean, I've done the major work. So yeah, so it's been a very productive afternoon. But book-wise, I mean, it's been a very productive evening as well because I got quite a bit of reading done. Where was I when I started this? I don't even remember now. 220, maybe? So I've read 100 pages today? Is that right? Have I really? I don't know. So anyways, so where were we last? So Simon was in hiding. They were trying to get him across the border. And they have discovered that there is a double agent working for them. And who is that double agent? Really, there's a possibility of one of two characters that are that double agent. But then there's also somebody else who thinks the double agent is somebody else. Not confusing at all, right? But it's really, I know that other person is not a double agent. And Simon knows that other person is not a double agent. But his friend thinks there's a possibility. But really, it comes down to one of two people. They're really leaning towards one, but I don't know. I don't want to believe they're the double agent. But I feel like maybe they are. And if they are, Eve is in trouble. I mean, either one of this person, like if anything gets out, Eve's in trouble either way. So can they save her in time before anything else happens? Or what is going to happen? So I'm really, really intrigued now. The one thing I'm having issue with this book is I know who the main people are, right? Like Eve, her mom, her family. Like I understand their names, her boss, the head nurse at the hospital, and kind of the main characters. But then there's a bunch of other characters. Kind of the names just come up, and I'm always like, who is that? Are they one of the German police officers? Or German secret police, whatever they're actually called? Or is that an orderly from the hospital? Or like, how do they relate? There's almost too many characters to keep straight that I can't remember. And because they're kind of different names, because a lot of them are German or Belgian names, I just, I read it once and then, okay, then I go on. And then when I read it again, it was like, wait, who was that person? So that is the one thing I'm struggling with. But that's the fact that it's a European-based book, right? Like, I'm not used to a lot of these names. And yeah, I don't know. So I'm very, very intrigued though, like, because I want Eve and Simon together, obviously. And I'd like her to get out of Brussels and find her siblings, and take her mom, and all return to Britain where it's much safer, and they speak English. No, there hasn't been a lot of foreign language mentioned other than like, I don't even know how to say it, but like it's the German. I'm thinking is like Mr. or right? It's hair, each Herr, which I'm probably not. I'm probably butchering that up completely. But right, like I think, and they say that a lot, but I'm pretty sure that's, like that's in a lot of books. I really should look that up maybe, right? So yeah, but so that is where I am now. I'm probably going to read a little bit more tonight, but then I will check in tomorrow to kind of let you know kind of what's happened since I last read. And yeah, and I'm hoping I'm at 80%, so I should be able to finish this book tomorrow. I'm hoping because I feel a little bit behind on my reading this month. And really, I'm blaming my husband for that, but it's not completely his fault. I mean, some of it is because of him being off. My schedule was thrown off, and I wasn't reading as much during the evening because he was up. And but it's not completely his fault because I've also been distracted. I've been distracted with I really have got sucked into CSI New York. I've really enjoyed the show and I have enjoyed it for years. And I watched it when it was like live on TV. I guess that's how it was. So I watched it every week, right? But it's been a number of years since I watched it, and there's a certain storyline that I'm really like, and so I was really kind of binge watching it to get to that storyline that I wanted to happen, wanted to remember, relive happening, I guess. And then, as I mentioned, kind of with planning our trip and trying to get that all done. So I've been a little bit distracted and haven't been reading as much this month as I normally do. So I actually, because I wanted to finish my TBR that I planned in my game, right? Because I usually do. I have never finished. I mean, I only picked 6 books. And I was like starting to kind of stress a little bit, like, oh, I don't know, I'm so far behind this month. So I actually went and added up all the pages of the books that I don't have read. One book was 320 pages. This book is 402 pages and blah, 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 right? And so I added up all those pages, divided it by the number of days left in the month. And okay, I need to read. So at that point in time, I needed to read 80 pages a day, which should not be a problem normally. Because even if I don't read like 80 pages one night, I read 50 pages. I can easily read 80 pages on a day off, or 130. I can't do math apparently. 110 pages the next night to make up for it. Not normally a problem, because I probably read on average 100 pages a day on a normal basis. But yeah, but with doing stuff or just kind of not having the same schedule as I normally do, I was feeling really behind. But at this moment in time, I am feeling content and okay. And I think that's part of because I'm not stressing about other things as well, because now I feel good. So, yeah. Okay, that's all I have to say for today. I will check in tomorrow. So it is now Monday, and I've survived the day at work. And when I got home from work, we had the delivery come with our new washer and dryer. So now we can do laundry again. That's always a good thing. So here is a little clip that I filmed of the old and the new. Saying goodbye. And in with the new. And of course, we're doing a cycle because we needed to do laundry. Okay, so reading wise, I finished last night. After I filmed the clip last night, I was going to read one more chapter and go to bed. Well, that one more chapter turned into one more chapter, one more chapter, one more chapter. And that last 15 to 20% of the that I had left of the book, I could not put it down. I had to know what was going to happen. It was just like they were in the midst of everything, and I'm like, how is it going to work out? How is this going to wrap up? Like I was hooked. So I think it was 12:30, quarter to 1 when I finally finished it and went to bed. But I finished it. And so now, what did I think of it? Well, obviously, I really enjoyed the last like 20% of the book. I could not put it down. Overall, I enjoyed my experience with it. I did find the beginning started a little bit slow for me, and I didn't really understand fully what was going on. But I really enjoyed the flashbacks to various years, that kind of gave history of events. And so this does happen during the war times. So there are some very hard subject matters or incidences described because, I mean, it's happening during war. This is what the people are living and experiencing. And I really liked that even when it ended, it was still during war times. So it didn't wrap up all nicely and pretty. And because there are still family members living in the midst of the action, like the war zones, or the German occupation coming in and taking over and dealing with all that, right? So it was very realistic in that way. In regards to the faith aspect, it was very Catholic based because they're talking about the rosary beads, and confessing your sins to the priest for forgiveness and stuff. But there was also some very kind of turning to God and trusting God and letting God forgive you and opening, right? Like, so there was, the faith was kind of both. I really liked that it featured a married couple. And so there was already a relationship there, and then they'd been separated for 3 years, and now they have been reunited, but there's challenges in their circumstances now because of where one is living, how the other one arrives in Brussels, right? So they experience challenges and can't just go about life like a married couple. And so I really enjoyed that aspect and following that relationship and kind of seeing and experiencing the challenges that they experience, or watching the challenges they experience, and kind of learning to kind of reunite with one another and kind of get to know, because the war has changed them. They have had different experiences. And there are, because it's happening during war, there are some very, very difficult scenes portrayed in this. And these people have experienced some very difficult moments. And so I really enjoyed kind of following that, and I think it was really well done. Like, I think it was very nicely portrayed. As I mentioned before, the things that I did struggle with it is just the number of characters and understanding exactly what was going on. But for my first read of this author, Kate Breslin, I really enjoyed it, and I would pick up more by her. I think for this story, I think I'm going to give it a 4. As I said, I don't really do halves, so I'm leaning towards a low 4, so like a 3.5, 3.75. But because I would pick up more by this author, that's why I'm leaning towards the 4 for it. I mean, I was hooked at the end. Like, I could not put it down. I had to know what was going on. So yeah, so that was my experience with High as the Heavens, and I really enjoyed it. And I think I think anybody who is really interested in war times and kind of getting to know how spies worked, and yeah, I I think those are my thoughts. So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Um, I'm not sure what I think about reading vlogs. I really enjoy watching them personally. I'm not very good at vlogging them. I don't know, I have a very boring day-to-day life. At least I feel like it is. And I'm not really, I have a hard time picking up my camera just when I'm at home, just doing nothing. And even though it's summer, it rained pretty much every single day I was reading this book. So I could not sit out on the deck and read. So that really sucked. Especially when I had the weekend. But that's the way it happens sometimes, right? So yes, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.